I'm Elle Mejia, a landlord, investor, and retail leasing professional. I've completed high-level transactions for retailers in markets across 5 continents. On my way to building a multi-million-dollar real estate business, I'm curating advice from women who are killing it across the globe and sharing those conversations with you. You can absolutely run your business, run your household, and run your life without running yourself into the ground. Welcome to This Girl Sells Real Estate. Hello and welcome. You are tuned into This Girl Sells Real Estate, a podcast featuring conversations with phenomenal women in real estate. I am your host, Elle Mejia, and I get to introduce you today to actually one of my oldest friends, I guess you could say, Odeen Eccleston. She is actually a glowing new mother. She's a real estate mogul. She's the broker of record and the owner of WE Realty. She's a real estate developer with Wiltshire Developments. And she's also the co-host of the hottest new real estate series on HGTV Canada, Hot Market. She's developed a reputation for curating all of the trappings for a luxury lifestyle for both herself and her clients. And today she's going to be talking to us about some of the ways in which she does that. Thank you so much for joining us today, Odeen. How are you?
I'm amazing. Thank you for that phenomenal introduction.
Every time I say it, I can't. So we've known each other since we're like 14 years old now at this point. It's the 9th grade, right? Yeah. And every time I read something like that, even as I was writing it to read today, I'm so proud of everything that you've done. It just kind of seems surreal where we are in our real estate careers and our real estate journeys right now, but I'm so proud of you.
Thank you so much. I'm so proud of you as well.
Thank you. But I want to talk to you about your journey because it's interesting because we haven't ever really had a conversation about how we ended up where we are, like how we ended up in real estate. It wasn't something that we were doing together. It wasn't something that we had conversations about. So I actually don't know how that process went for you. Yeah. How did you end up here?
Yeah. As you know, like when I was a teenager, I was doing like acting and I wanted to like move to LA to just do television and film, but my parents wouldn't allow me until I finished university. So in university, I started like acting just here in Toronto, and I booked some like commercials and stuff, and I met all these interesting people, and I started like making money. But a lot of the people I was meeting, the successful people I found had like multiple avenues of income, multiple revenue streams. And so I was like, well, what am I passionate about? And so film and television was one of them. And my parents have been avid real estate investors. My dad was in real estate for many years. And so I had like a natural zest for real estate and then writing. So I said, okay, let me see what happens if I get my real estate license and I start like writing books and do acting. And those will be my 3 avenues. Mind you, this is like a 19-year-old Pollyanna mind thinking, yeah, okay, let's just go. And so then I got my real estate license in my final year at U of T. Okay. And I started, I signed up with like the local brokerage. I didn't even, like nowadays, everybody knows that you're supposed to do research. Lucia, I just like geographically, which one was the closest to my parents' house.
Can I tell you, I chose the brokerage that paid for my real estate courses.
That makes sense. See,
I was like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, it does though. And so I went there, and then within that first year, they gave me an award for Rookie of the Year because I had sold, I made like 6 figures at age 22 selling real estate. And so apparently that was anomalous. And so I was like, oh, I guess I'm pretty good at this. And then that sort of became my primary way or career, as opposed to doing that with acting. Acting kind of fell to the wayside.
And now it's come around full circle because now we can actually check you out on HGTV.
Which is just like, that is just.
when I saw that message, I remember when I texted you, I was like, of course, how could it not just kind of come full circle that way?
That is, I still kind of can't believe it or not, because it's just, yeah, I would have never thought that it would come together so organically. And like Lucia, I didn't even, like when I got the call from one of the producers, I was just like, sure, okay. And then,
That's so funny to me.
yeah.
But the work that you've been doing is phenomenal. And I want to be able to show people showcase some of the work that you've done, because when people go to your Instagram page and it's just your name, Instagram.com/Odeen, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is your work.
Yeah.
These are your house, and you're in development, and development is not, it's not a stream of real estate. Like, I find that I don't run into a lot of women when I do international leasing. It's still very much male dominated. Mm-hmm. And even though retail in North America, I find, is a little bit more forgiving, and I'll find more of a mix of men and women, development is a game that is still so male dominated. And you're not just playing developer, like, you're on the site, you're building from the ground up. You got your boots on, you got your hard hat on, and you're working.
Mm-hmm. So a few years into my real estate career, I met who became my business partner, Lamont Wiltshire, the namesake of our company, and we decided, like, we had this mutual, like, again, just fervor for real estate, and we would walk around, and then he actually, we said, you know what, let's start a company. And so what is, like, the long-term goal? Obviously, it's to build houses, but we can't just do that right away without experience. I had represented quite a few real estate developers in my first few years of real estate as well. So I learned a lot of sort of the ins and outs of the industry. Then in meeting him, we started this company, and we said, okay, let's get some experience, though, just within construction, because that's the base of a good development company, is quality construction. So we began renovating homes and rehabbing properties.
So you started with rehabbing existing properties before you moved on to actually building your own properties ground up.
Yeah, it was always sort of like within, like, our 5-year plan. Like, when we first started the company and did our strategic planning, we realized that was definitely the direction we wanted to go. So at the same time of flipping the properties, we were buying land,
right,
to, like, bank for the future.
That's the smartest thing to do.
Yeah, so thankfully it worked out within, we perhaps were flipping homes for like a good 4 years and getting that experience, and then we did our first tear down, and then second tear down, and then to the point now where we have small subdivisions on the go.
So just in terms of you even talking about what your 5-year plan was, and you mentioned it, you actually touched on it a little bit when you were talking about when you were 19 and all of these big dreams that you have for yourself. Knowing you from high school, I know that you've always been a bigger dreamer than most people that were surrounding you, most people in your circle at that time. And I distinctly remember, I remember you inviting me to come see you at the Miss Black Canada pageant, to competing at the Miss Black Canada pageant. And I remember you telling me, oh, but don't tell people that I'm doing this pageant, because I think that you had a really good understanding, even at that young of an age, that as big as your dreams were, they weren't necessarily going to be understood by most people. And so you had a really good understanding of who you could talk to about that and who you couldn't talk to about that. And I actually attribute a lot of my learning how to dream big from yourself, and also your mother, who, for some reason, every single conversation I've ever had with this woman ended with her telling me that I could do something impossible that I never actually had on my list of plans to do. Do you think having that level of support is what has caused you to have those big dreams, even from such a young age, to just kind of believe that you could do everything? Or do you think that's something that was always in you, and you just happened to be lucky enough to be around people that cultivated it and supported it for you?
Oh my goodness. I think you hit the nail on the head. You hit so many nails on the head. First of all, it's incredible because I don't even remember like telling you, like, that is something I would completely do. And I would I would confide in you and a select few, because perhaps it's a matter of being able to discern who also has the capacity to dream big, and who is in your corner, right? So that you feel safe sharing your dreams with. So I think that was very likely the case back then, and I thank you for even coming to the pageant back then. Like, what the heck was I doing? Like, what?
You were fantastic. What do you mean? I caught a bus to Mississauga to go to that pageant.
That is crazy. But
that level of, I see that you're surrounded by that level of support. And I'm thankful every single day that I'm surrounded by that level of support myself. Like you always hear about the cattiness of women in our industry and really across all industries. And that's not something that I've experienced myself in my personal circle. It sounds like you could probably say the same thing for yourself. You don't really seem to have anyone in your circle who's not in your corner, who's not rooting for you to win big.
Yeah, I think, it's something that my mom has pointed out as well, that I'm very lucky with the group of girls that I've had as friends and for a very long time, including yourself. I've never had any issues. Like, yeah, I think that I'm very lucky in terms of friends, but in terms of dreaming, I think you hit the nail on the head when you said that my mother and a lot of my teachers as a child really believed in me. And so by their measure, believe it or not, right now, I'm likely underperforming because they had so much belief in me and so much confidence that it had no choice but to sort of permeate within me as well, and then sort of become a self-fulfilling prophecy. But yeah, I attributed a lot to my parents, family, and also teachers. It's really important. It's like I can't underscore how important, especially elementary school teachers, the impact that they can have. Because I remember distinctly conversations that I had with my grade 4 teacher, and even just like the act of like getting straight A's when you're in grade 4, 5, 6, like those things, and what it does for your self-esteem. It makes you feel like, okay, I'm supposed to do well.
I'm supposed to be great. Yeah,
exactly. And then they help to reinforce that.
Yeah. And I think that having that measure of confidence in yourself, and I know that this is a conversation, I don't know if we've had this conversation, but I've had this conversation with a lot of the girls that I consider, I don't have a big circle, but I have a great circle.
Yeah.
And the women that are in my circle, I find all within their careers, you're the only friend that I have that's actually in real estate. But the friends that I have are all in very high performance careers. Most of them are in male dominated spheres, and most of them are outperforming the majority of the individuals in their fields. These are all women who are phenomenally successful in what they do. And I find it interesting that it's these type of women that gravitate to each other, because you can root for each other to win, because there really is, you're living that community versus competition. You're living that collaboration versus competition. There's no inferiority complex within yourself that says that you can't be happy for someone else without equating it to what you are or are not accomplishing in your life. Do you feel that level of confidence that you have in yourself allows you to be able to have those relationships around you?
Absolutely, because and then the self-confidence, when you have it within yourself, usually it spreads to the people closest to you. So it's like I'm surrounded by confident women themselves, right? And so maybe it's like we've helped each other thrive in that regard. We lift each other up. And yeah, because you're confident, it's like you have no choice. When you believe in your friends, you want them to do well and you want to lift them up. You want to feed them with positivity and self-belief as well. But
No, sorry, go ahead.
But just like for listeners, I also believe, though, honestly, Luchelle, that no matter how great other people think that you are, what's paramount is you within yourself having
100%. When you talk about underperforming, so I remember when you turned 20, and I remember what you told me when you turned 20. You said you weren't really happy about it because you felt like your accomplishments sounded more impressive for a 19-year-old than they sounded for a 20-year-old. Do you remember this?
I would 100% say that, because I remember when I was turning 20, I was like, so I'm not a teenager anymore.
But it's true, because I also did I did well academically at school.
Yeah.
And I started off doing well I started off doing very well academically when I was in kindergarten. So I don't remember a time when I wasn't always hearing from my teachers and from my parents, you're so smart. And so that kind of became what my identity was. And so it almost didn't matter. The same way that you say when you feel like you're kind of underperforming, even though someone from the outside would look and be like, well, your bank account is this and your career achievements are this and you've won these awards, and how could you say you're underperforming? It really doesn't matter what the outside measure is. It really just kind of depends on what barometer you set for yourself, how you're measuring your own level of success.
You got it.
I'm going to ask you a loaded question that I know I could not answer myself if somebody asked me this.
Okay.
What is your end goal? What is the big picture for you?
You know what? For me, and it might sound cliche, but it's to continue to just be filled with joy. I'm, in everything that I'm doing, I have intrinsic joy. I'm living a very full life that I am proud of and that I am happy. And it's not necessarily based on conventions of society and in regards of, okay, by this age you have to get married and this and that. No, I'm doing what makes me happy and living my life on purpose and like exactly how I want to live it. And I just want to continue to be able to do that and just continue to have fun. And
now you're doing it for your son as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're a new, well, I guess not a new mom anymore. He's 22 months old now.
Yeah,
How has that been? Because all of this, I mean, it's a different ball game doing this as a mom. So how have you been able to find that balance? What tips and tricks have you kind of figured out along the way as you're starting to navigate this?
Yeah, so I think the planning again. So I had him the year that my mom retired.
That is smart.
Yes.
That is smart.
And I live 4 minutes up the street from my mother.
I think I'm 8 minutes away from my parents. Are you kidding?
It's just, I think that like to have that support is also just so paramount. And then since my son was 4 months old, I have had a nanny. So she is amazing. And it feels weird calling her nanny because now she's like a part of our family.
Part of the family. Well, that's what it is. But you know what I realized? And I realized this as I started off as business connections, but then started making friends in a lot of these, in a lot of the international destinations that I was placing stores in. But having help with your children is just a regular part of life in most of the, I don't know where we got the idea in Canada and the US that we're supposed to be able to take care of absolutely everything that is on the plate for a 21st century woman, especially a working woman, and be able to do it without help.
No. Remember, it was villages that helped to raise us, right? And raise their parents. So now it's like, yeah, it's not the same structure, but
we're creating our own villages. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, no, I learned that very early on that no, this is not a singular job. And shout out to everybody who is literally doing it singularly.
Oh my gosh.
Those people are literally like phenomenal, like because it's beyond my comprehension.
Superhuman. Like I look at so I talked to my partner's mother a lot. She raised 3 children, all of them soccer, like all of them full athletic scholarships to university. All of them came out with degrees. All of them have like fantastic 6-figure, 7-figure careers now. And she did it by herself with and I'm like, I have one and I need all the help I can get.
That is,
with the extracurriculars and all. His schedule is more packed than mine.
Yeah, no, that's superhuman, as you said. Like, so shout outs because there are women that are like they're superhuman. But yeah. I am relying heavily on family, and he is the first grandchild in for my parents and for his dad's parents.
Same with Nico's still the only grandchild on both sides.
Oh my gosh, is that for real?
Spoiled beyond spoiled, of course.
Oh my gosh, he's had a long run.
9 years. 9 years, yes, 9 years and counting.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. So I rely heavily on a lot of help, and that is and also, you know what, he happens to be, thank goodness, knock on wood, a very good baby or toddler now. So that's the only reason why I've been able to continue to develop business. Because even when HGTV called, he was like 7 months old.
Oh, wow.
Like, how am I going to do this, that? But my family, everybody just sort of came together and said, no, you're going to do this and we're going to help in every way we can.
That's the thing. And well, that's the beauty of having that type of a support system. So what can we see, where we can see you on HGTV on your new show, but where else can we see you? What projects should we be looking out for?
Well, with Wiltshire Homes, we have so many projects on the go, some of which are kind of slowed down because of the COVID-19 pandemic situation. But in addition to the Wiltshire Estates that we're working on in North Pickering, which is it's going to be like a gated community of 6 to 8 luxury estates. And we have like a townhouse development in Oshawa. We have another townhouse development in Whitby. But we're really looking forward to working on for Q4 and beyond some purpose-built rentals. So we're really excited about providing the rental community with some luxury products. And it's something we've been working on for many years, but it's finally looking like it should be coming to fruition in terms of the preliminary phases anyway for this year. So you can learn or keep track of that kind of stuff on really social media platforms.
Okay, and people can find you on Instagram at Odeen.
Yes.
And your website, remind me of your website again.
Okay, which one should I give? You know what? Yeah, like I have.
Give all of them.
You know what? When I first got my real estate license, at like again a 21-year-old, I got the domain MissTorontoRealtor.com, and I
love it.
But
what's wrong with Miss Toronto Realtor?
Now
you're so much more than a realtor.
It just seems like it sounds like to me like a 20-year-old would have like gotten that domain. But yeah, so I still have that one, MissTorontoRealtor.com.
So you know the rapper Childish Gambino?
Yes.
Have you heard the story of how he got his name?
No.
So he said that it was just a joke. He never expected that his rap career would really blow up like that. So he used, this is what I heard, that he used one of those, one of those online generating systems, like what's your Wu-Tang name?
Oh, one of those.
And so he used the what's your Wu-Tang name generator and got the name Childish Gambino. And now he's rocking it. So you know what? Miss Toronto Realtor, 21 or not, yeah. I think it works. You're also the broker of record now and you're the owner of your own brokerage.
Yes, WE Realty. So that was in the works for a while, for several years, but then I sort of slowed down to have cashed in. And then when HGTV called, my business partner and I were like, okay, well, no, we've got to up our branding. So we're selling all these houses and we're building all of these houses and selling them under my previous brokerage's name, which was wonderful. And they were an excellent support throughout my career. But it was time for the branding to sort of align. Right. So Wiltshire Homes being sold by Wiltshire Eccleston Realty. It just sort of made sense.
Right.
And so yeah, we just launched that a couple months ago.
And how exciting has that been? You're building your team under that brokerage as well, yes?
Yes. And I think it was overdue because for me to be sort of managing everything on my own was incredibly overwhelming. And I'm not sure like how it took me so long to get to this point, but now we're developing the team. We've got some incredible agents within WE Realty, some that have been in the business like for 15 years, some that are newer, but all that pay like incredible attention to detail. And it's been a good time just sort of mentoring them and seeing them grow within their careers, because I feel like another measure of ultimate success is being able to provide other people opportunities. And so, being the broker.
Have there been women along the way for you in real estate who you would consider to be mentors, or who would you say have been really influential to the success that you have today in real estate?
You are so good at this. Like, I just feel like the questions you're asking, and then like you're such a journalist.
I have to remember to come back to ask questions because I feel like I'm just like, because this is how I talk to you.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, no, tell me everything that you're doing. I want to hear everything that you're doing. I'll tell you everything that I'm doing. You'll get ideas. I'll get ideas. It'll be fine. And then I'm like, oh no, wait, people are listening. I should ask a question.
Yeah, no. And it's just like, you're like a professional journalist. I'm so
excited. Thank you.
My mentor, I have never met her, but I've been watching her from afar throughout my entire career, and her name is Barbara Corcoran.
Oh my gosh, I love her.
Yeah. So literally, I listen to every podcast she does. I'm just like a huge fan because like she is to me the ultimate in success, in real estate success in particular, woman or man. So yeah, she's who I have sort of kind of emulated my career
Yeah, I think when she offloaded her brokerage, she offloaded it for like 60 million, like 60, 70 million or something along those lines. She's phenomenal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's a boss.
Yeah. And what advice, because I know it's always interesting to me as we move forward and trying to accomplish all of the dreams that we have. A lot of times we don't realize that the same way that you're looking at Barbara from afar and saying she's one of my mentors, she's one of my role models. People are obviously looking at you now and are saying the same thing about you, even when you're just kind of going every day doing what you need to do for your own joy and for your son and for your family and for your friends. There are people that are looking at that are going to be trying to glean tips and advice from that, because you are going to be a role model and a mentor to people that you haven't even met yet. So what advice would you have for women that are just kind of starting to come into the real estate business, or really even any industry, and who have dreams as big as the dreams that you've had and maybe don't have the support system that you have to tell you absolutely run full force, you can do it?
Okay. Yeah. So I'd say that, as you said, for real estate or any industry, number one, as we spoke about earlier on, self-belief is just so integral in terms of anything you do. You have to have confidence, self-belief. I think another sort of success habit is learning to not take anything personally.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And then, the work ethic. Your work ethic when you're working for yourself in any entrepreneurial endeavor it has to be, to get to that like high level of success, your work ethic has to be out of this world.
I tell everyone the way that you clock in and clock out for somebody else's money has to be the way that you're prepared to work for your money too. It's not going to be, I can make my own hours, I'll only work 3-4 hours today.
No, get ready to work. It might, Barbara doesn't make it look super hard. And at times, perhaps I've heard that people say that I make it look easy, but there is so much work going on behind.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, it's the backstory, right? Because when people are looking at social media, they're going to see, look at this beautiful house that I built. They're not going to see what went into the land negotiations. They're not going to see what went, the construction delays, the shipment. They're not going to see any of that ugly. They're going to see a big, beautiful house and you looking beautiful in front of it with your hair and your makeup.
Yeah.
So,
you got it. You got it.
You're absolutely right.
So your perseverance is just, it has to be like it's a key component that you're going to have in your toolbox, along with self-belief, discipline, especially because you're going to be working for yourself. So you've got to be disciplined with your time and with your attention, and also, you know what? Be passionate. Don't go into something just because it might look glamorous. It might look, ensure that it's something that you at least have some level of passion for, so that when the times do get perhaps a little bit challenging, your passion will help to propel you forward.
Oh, yeah, especially with new projects when you're working for no money yet.
There we go.
That passion is going to make you turn on that laptop and get that work done. I'm so appreciative of you having this conversation with us today. I think, especially with the sphere of real estate that you're in, being one of the only women realtors in Toronto, in this market in Ontario, that has really delved into the development side to the level that you've delved into it, I think is a phenomenal testament to women who are looking to do the same. And I think that your willingness, like the spirit that you have to always be willing to share that information with anyone who wants to hear it, I think is a testament to who you are as a person and to who your support system has really built as well. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for this platform, and thank you for everything that you do for women and for the community.
Oh, thank you.
I just think that you represent yourself so well, you represent us so well, and I'm so proud to know you, and I'm so thankful that you invited me on today.
Thank you so much. I also love that you're one of the only people that calls me Luchao.
And I swear to goodness, right as you were introducing me, I meant to say, like, is it okay that I call you Luchao?
No, I would never want you to change that. It's amazing to me. I can always tell where people know me from. I'm like, clearly she's known me since I was a child. She uses my full name. But thank you so much for joining us today. for everyone who is listening, be sure to check out her social media, but really make a connection, because I personally think if there's anything that's underperforming with you, your social media needs to catch up to the greatness that is Odeen right now. So
I really should look into like getting somebody to take care of it. It's because of the time. It's like I'm doing like business and it's like, oh crap, I really should post something. And yeah, I agree with you, Lucia. I'll try to implement that advice.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much. Again, so proud of the work that you're doing and so excited to see these projects that you have coming down the line. So you said you have the luxury homes that are coming in North Pickering.
Yes, and they're called the Wiltshire Estates, and we're starting with the model home that we're in the process of building right now.
Nice.
Really exciting. It's like, it's over the top, but it's
as only you can do.
it's the primary objective is obviously we're going to build it to sell, but it's also going to act as our model home to sell many other projects in and around the GTA. So it's really going to be a model home. So we're going all out, and there's going to be like an indoor pool in the basement.
I love it. Do I get a tour when this is done? I'll wear a mask and everything.
Well, it's not going to be done. We hope that COVID situation is over.
It will. Put it out into the universe, manifest it.
It better be, because we need to have, like, I'm going to be having like parties at this place. Like, we're working so hard. We have to implement as much fun as possible.
I love it.
I love it. Advice. We have to have fun, guys. Like, we only live once. So it's just like, as much as we focus on hard work and on...
You have to live.
You have to live.
You have to live. You know what? And even with this lockdown, and I know that a lot of people are dealing with a lot of hardships right now. And I feel for everyone who's in a situation where their new normal really has come with a lot of financial burdens as well. But a lot of the work that we do is to create the lifestyle that we kind of have an opportunity to enjoy right now. Like, when else are we going to have this downtime to be at home with our kids and to enjoy them? And this is what we say that we're working for all the time. So let's not, there's a lot of crazy and there's a lot of stress, and we have to deal with the realities of that, but let's not forget to tap into the beauty of all of this as well. Like, there's a lot of silver linings here.
There's so many silver linings. Listen, my son has been in Montessori since he's 18 months. Now I'm thinking, wait a minute, I kind of like this kind of like homeschooling vibe.
Can I tell you? So my son said, I like this so much better because at school in the class, you have to wait till everybody understands before you move on. Here, I can just do it fast. And I was like, you know what? This kind of works for him. I've been thinking about it. I haven't pulled the trigger yet, but I've been thinking about it.
It makes you think, because it's just like, we get to be here to experience more of their development and see them. It's just like, wow, have I been missing these like golden moments?
It's true. So it's true.
Like, society as we know it is changing. So
hey, you know what? Maybe a lot for the better too. So interesting to see how we'll all come out of this.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you so much, Odeen. And thank you so much to everyone who has been listening to us today. We'll be back next week with another episode, another conversation with another phenomenal woman in real estate, my favorite thing to do. Please take a moment to subscribe to us on whatever platform it is that you're listening on. It's a little bit of time for you, but it does help us out a lot in the long run. And we will speak to you soon. Thank you so much for tuning in.